My name is Deb Wallace, and you are currently on my ePortfolio page. This page has been developed as a final project for the Multimedia Hypermedia class. That class is one of the core requirements at the University of Akron's Masters in Instructional Technology. So the goal of this video is just to walk you through my work and sorry about that the rationale of why I completed this project. The ePortfolio, as I stated before, is a final project for the multimedia hypermedia class, but it also has a dual purpose. It serves as a electronic binder, combining all of the coursework and the final projects from the coursework and field experiences and field artifacts, which would be final projects out in the field, into one place, this ePortfolio. So let's walk through this project. This is my front page, as you can see. I have a little colorful picture here. You see it here in the middle of my page here. There is my instructional technology philosophy, and then I give a link to my IT philosophy paper if anyone wants to further explore why I believe what I believe about the integration of technology and education and classroom teaching techniques. There is a little introduction recorded on my front page just to welcome my any site visitors and to give them a little bit further instruction on where they need to go next. Um, if you look here, you'll notice that my menu, I have a drop down menu, and right now we're on the home page, which is the ePortfolio page. The About page is about me, about the University of Akron's website, about the International Society of Technology and Education. I also provide a video that is a little bit more detailed and provides a little bit more depth about what needs to happen after people get to this page. In fact, I refer to the video in my welcome message on the front page. If people want to find out a little bit more about me, which I speak a little bit about in my video, I tell them to click my resume if they want to explore some of my previous professional experiences and my connection of those experiences to the program currently. The NETC standards. So the NETC standards are standards set forth by the International Society of Technology and Education, and these folks have outlined several sets of standards, not just for coaches, but for teachers, for students, for supervisors, administrators, for computer tech, for IT people. And then what we've done here at the University of Akron, we have adopted those standards and we've integrated them into the program as core competencies. So students actually demonstrate their understanding of these standards by producing what we call artifacts, which in this case, the electronic portfolio would be an artifact. It would be an artifact that combines all artifacts together. Um, so what are those standards? So we have adopted the NET-C standards, which are the standards for the coaches. And the NET-C standards are leadership, teaching and instruction or teaching and learning, instructional design, multimedia development, and professional development. So for each page, as you can see here, if there is a name listed, that name that's listed here will be the header for that page. Um, just a little bit of basic instruction or basic overview. You'll notice that my pages are uniform in terms of color, in terms of text and font, in terms of the icons on the bottom, and that's intentional. To make the portfolio uniform, to make it easy to navigate. I don't want people to feel confused about where they are, what they're doing, or to feel overwhelmed. I know I've gone to websites and I've just felt overwhelmed because there was just too much going on. This website is also a work in progress because I have not yet completed all the courses in the program, and I may decide that I want to switch up my design. Right now, this is how I how I envision my portfolio. I may switch this design up and do something entirely different. As I've gained a lot more skill and knowledge in how to code and how to play with colors and that sort of thing. So let's move forward. So we're going to the first Net C standard, which is leadership. So for each of the standards, there are courses that are associated with those standards, and there is an artifact that needs to be produced. How I set up each of the pages uh, on my website is that I actually identify the course that's associated with that uh, core competency, with that standard. I have a description, as you can see here, right? And then I have a description, an actual column for the artifact. Um, So, and then, the students are also required to take their skill set outside of the classroom, outside of that final project, and to go and enter to actually practice what they've learned out in the field. So you'll see here that there's a field experience, an experience summary, and then an artifact that should be produced as a result of that field experience. And then I have a space for additional comments if there are things that I wanted to note, that I thought that the visitors would would be interested in, or those who would be evaluating my portfolio would be interested in. I have space for that. So for this particular page, you can see I do not have any artifacts or any hyperlinks other than the field experience plans. So the field experience plans here are just plans that I pre-wrote as part of the course requirement for the first Introduction to Instructional Technology class. And um, these are not actual experiences, they're just plans to implement experiences. As those experiences come, I will replace these icons with the actual artifacts for these experiences. For this particular course, the Planning for Technology, there's nothing here because I have not taken the course yet. So um, the artifact itself, although I've written something in, it's not a hyperlink. If it were hyperlink, you would actually be able to go and see what that artifact is. Okay. So for teaching and learning, I have teaching and instruction. But teaching and learning, um, again, the course that was associated with this standard is the Introduction to Instructional Technology. And then you'll see that I have my wiki reflections, which were it was just an electronic journal for students in the class to reflect on readings, on discussions, on projects that we've done, on some of the impacts of technology offline, right? So when you're the one who's facilitating learning and introducing technology, what are some of the issues that come along with that? What are some of the successes that come along with that? And so the wiki reflections prompted, were opportunities for students to reflect and to communicate and really to hash out some of their thoughts on how they would approach not just using the current technology that they were handling, but also introducing and being open to new technology. So the instructional design standard, the artifact for this particular standard was created in this current class, the multimedia hypermedia class. And so there was a design document which really served as a written framework for how we wanted our final project to look. Initially, I did not want to do an e-portfolio, but I had a vision of how I wanted my portfolio to look, and so I revisited my design document and redid the document itself so that the document aligned with my design, my actual design of the website. Um, it's not unusual if a course yields several artifacts that cross over or that cover several different standards. But because the program is I think it's really intense. But I think it's intense and challenging in a good way in terms of forcing the student to really think through how they're going to be intentional with the use of technology, with the use of their expert knowledge, with the use of whatever techniques that they use in or outside the classroom, wherever that classroom looks like, whether it's an actual classroom, whether it's a boardroom, whether it's uh, online, how they're going to use that information and mesh it together in a way where it's digestible, where it's useful, where it's cutting edge, where it provides, an outlet for people to get involved and to, people can be creative with making an impact. So The design document itself, um, as I tie this back in, right, is supposed to help um, with creating a framework with how that can happen with your ePortfolio. So, how you would articulate that um, in your ePortfolio. So, the design document really provided that opportunity to lay the foundation of how you envision and your vision for your portfolio as it lines up with the standards. The great thing about this project is that some students did not have to do an e-portfolio. They could have used it as a resource page. They could have used it as an actual usable tool for a classroom setting, for a nonprofit agency. So really, you had a lot of, students had a lot of free reign in terms of how they were going to use their project. All right, so let's go to multimedia development. So this was a really cool standard because I was really excited about the projects that I did for this particular one. Um, the multimedia development standard was the artifact for this were the mini projects that we produced in the multimedia hypermedia class. There were 6 of them. And so these 6 projects range from writing, creating your web, all of your web pages, coding, doing a digital imaging, doing audio imaging, doing a debugging process. I mean, it was really cool. This is my first mini project. Actually, after it was cleaned up and debugged, it looks a lot cleaner and a lot neater. I'll show you what the previous mini project one. It was that horrible Pepto-Bismol pink. I would think I was just so excited that I was able to change the color and get my web page readable when I first designed my site. But I like the new design because it's cleaner, it looks more professional, it looks more inviting. It doesn't look as condensed and congested and closed off that people made it look closed off. And I just have a little thing for the marquee, as you can see here. Yeah, so this is the artifact for the multimedia hypermedia um, course, but it's also for the multimedia development as well, right? And so we're going to go down to the professional development. The professional development standard, I have a couple of artifacts here. Um, the course that I took here that produced this artifact was the introduction to instructional technology, actually for both artifacts. So there was the pre-competencies verification, the pre-admission competencies verification, which served as really a measuring stick for students to identify where their strengths and weaknesses were with technology, with emergent technology, with current technology, and they were to rate themselves on the use of that technology, which was really interesting. And then there was the instructional technology philosophy paper, which was also another interesting. For me, it was interesting because I had to really sit down and think about what my belief system were and how it aligned with the current philosophies around education and instructional technology. So there you have it. This is my website. This site is a work in progress. So as you saw, not all of the standards had artifacts or course descriptions or task descriptions or field experiences. So as I complete those courses and I produce artifacts, those artifacts will get added to the website. The other thing is that for each of these field experiences, as I mentioned before, students are required to take that knowledge that they've gained in the course and to go out into the field and to integrate, to implement that knowledge, to execute, and then come back with an experience to share, to upload into their portfolio. So for me, and everyone had to write a field experience plan. You'll notice that these field experience plans are the hyperlinks. That means that those plans have yet to be implemented, but I wanted to put something there, at least for me to reference, to go back and say, so what did I say I would do for this particular standard? So it's there for every field experience um, artifact for me to go back and reference. And I'll probably change that as I go, as I complete the courses. Um, the field experiences are not necessarily planned. Students really need to plan to integrate those as they go, as they complete the program. But Um, it's just right now for me, the field experience points are placeholders until I complete my coursework. So just a bit of an overview here. I just wanted to point out that my email, I can be reached by email by clicking this icon. And then this icon here, which is the University of Akron symbol, actually takes students or any site, anyone who's visiting my site, back to um, the front page of the University of Akron, which is really cool. So that is my site. I'm so glad that you decided you wanted to see what had what I had designed, what's been designed so far. Stay tuned because I'm sure that things will change as I continue my journey here in the master's program in instructional technology and add more artifacts. Thanks so much for being with me and for touring my site.